to protect your soul.
Basildon. For most Londoners, it's a place you pass by on the way to Southend. An overspill new town just off the A127. Population, 80,000.
It's the fastest growing town in Essex, but local MP David Amos reckons you need a map if you're Basildon bound.
You only have to look around you now. Basildon is going to be the centre of Essex. Many, many people want to come here.
On the 4th of January, 1949, from fields of mud and wartime dust, a promise rose. Bold, brick by brick. A promise to ordinary people, to us.
London. At the end of the last war, this city had a massive housing problem. Over 150,000 families in desperate need of homes. One solution was to move a large part of the population away from the smoky, noisy and crowded capital out into newly created communities where they could live, work and play in healthy surroundings. This is how our town of Basildon in Essex was born. One of 8 new towns created by the government in the 1940s.
Basildon, a new town for a new Britain.
Let us all join together now in one more great effort, this time for victory over scarcity. We showed the world what we could do during the war. Let's show it again now. Let's pull together for prosperity.
Forged in the spirit of Attlee's disciples, men and women who'd seen the cost of chaos and chose instead to build hope.
Basildon, a space-age look for a long-established institution.
Here, they worked. Here, they built. Factories roared, hammers sang, and mothers mended uniforms, fathers fixed engines. And the children, they grew up with grit in their veins.
It is not the early pioneers who, during their lifetime, will reap the full benefit of the new town experiment. This will fall on the young people in the schools or those who use the playgrounds today.
Basildon wasn't fancy, it wasn't polished, but it was real. And in its hum and heartbeat came the sound of something different, a new culture, a new voice. From this town of grafters came Depeche Mode and Alison Moyet. Basildon's own poetry and synth and soul. From its playground and pitches came Premier League footballers who learned to fight for every inch of turf.
And lazy end-of-season marking left Justin Edinburgh a free shot. His first ever league goal.
We built the technology that took Attenborough's blue planet to the world. Yes, Basildon, not London, Basildon. Behind the lens that made the planet gasp. We are the largest economy in Essex. The largest on the Thames after Canary Wharf. And yet too often, we've been treated like we're still the poor cousin down the A13.
Unkind people might say there are no road signs to Basildon because nobody wants to come here.
I know that that couldn't be further from the truth.
But Basildon people don't moan, we move. We graft. We play by the rules. We do our bit. And yes, we've been tired. We've seen promises fade like old paint. We've watched the town centre crumble, while others got the shine and the spend. But something's stirring again. You can feel it. In the cranes above the town centre. In the laughter spilling from the new Weatherspoons. In the sound of drills and rhythm of renewal. A town once built by hand is being rebuilt by heart. By a council that finally gets it. But this place doesn't need charity. It needs belief. We are the children of Attlee's dream, grown tired of being overlooked. We're the sons and daughters of makers, of doers, of dreamers in overalls. And as 2026 dawns, we rise again. Basildon, reborn, reformed, ready to stand on our own 2 feet. A town of visionaries and vision, of families that stay and futures worth fighting for. Because this is Basildon. Not a name on a map, but a movement of people. A town that never gives up. A promise that never dies. Basildon, a new town for a new Britain.
Towns are about people and must be built for people. It is they who will one day claim, with genuine pride, that Basildon is their town.
Good evening, Basildon. I hope you are well. This is Councillor Gavin Callaghan, the leader of Basildon Council. This is it. It's the eve of poll, election day tomorrow. You get to decide whether or not Basildon is going to be a place that continues with progress or whether or not we are going to have a council of chaos. That is, I think, the most consequential set of local government elections. Most of the time people say to me, Council elections don't really matter. Nothing really changes. This is so important tomorrow. As I say, I think it's the biggest set of council elections we have ever had. And the reason I say that is because we know that tomorrow the regeneration of Basildon Town Centre is literally on the ballot paper. The regeneration of Wickford, the regeneration of Langdon, the regeneration of Pitsea is on the ballot paper. If my administration is turfed out tomorrow, all of those regenerations die. They stop. I'll talk about that in a bit more detail later on. Tomorrow, you get to decide if you keep your weekly black bin collection. That's on the ballot paper. 2 years ago, I promised you that if you voted for Labour, that we would bring back the weekly black bin collections. Sack the Tories. That was the motto 3 years ago. And we delivered on it. We brought back those weekly black bin collections. We have given you reasons to trust us. We are cleaning up this borough. We're getting rid of those Tory streets of shame that dogged so many parts of our borough. And of course, we're fly tipping. We have halved it in the last 2 years as well. All of that is on the ballot paper. Do you want to go back to living in a street where we've got rubbish left all over the place, where we've got black bags piled up high on street corners, where fly tipping is rife? If you do, then you can vote for Reform, or you can vote for the Conservatives tomorrow. If you want Reform or the Conservatives to win, you can also vote Green tomorrow as well in this election. But if you want to keep Basildon moving forward in terms of the regeneration, if you want to keep us moving forward in terms of the street cleansing, then you need to vote Labour. You also need to decide whether or not you want the street light to remain on. Twice I have put the street lights on as leader of this council, and 3 times the Billericay Tories have turned them off. So you decide who's true to form. Am I someone you can trust to keep the street lights on? And are the Tories people you can trust to turn them back off again? That's an important issue to you. You need to back it. You need to vote for it tomorrow. And of course, one of the things that I'm a broken record on, in every single election since I was first elected in May 2012, when I was a 23-year-old, young, slim 20-something with my whole life ahead of me, not the fast approaching 40-year-old man that I am now, I made you a promise that I was going to fight to get Basildon out of Essex County Council, that we were going to abolish Essex County Council, that Basildon was going to be given its Independence Day. And I am that close to delivering on that promise. I have got the government to agree to it, to abolish the county council. All of those horrendous pavements that I've been walking up and down over the course of the last few weeks and months that look like something out of Baghdad, not Basildon. Those potholes that plague our roads, that for years and years and years, decades, we've been sat there saying, we'd like to do something about that as Basildon Council, but it's not our responsibility. It's Essex County Council. They've got the budget. They keep 80% of the council tax that you and I pay every single month. All of that madness ends tomorrow if you vote for it. I'm asking for you to vote for me to go to become an Essex County Councillor, because I want to be there when the final nail goes into the coffin of that horrendous organisation that has held Basildon back for years. So if you're sat there tonight thinking potholes, pavements, street lights, they're the most important things to you in this election, don't vote for the people who for 25 years have managed the decline of Basildon, swallowed up our money, taken our money, and then spent it in Braintree or Colchester or Epping Forest or Chelmsford. Vote for the people who are going to abolish Essex County Council and keep our money here. And in this election, the only party that will do that is the Labour Party. And then you need to think about whether or not you want unproven, chaotic individuals running your council on Friday morning. Let me be clear about the maths in this election. I know that has not been something that my opposition have wanted to talk about in this election. Basildon Council is comprised of 42 elected members, and we elect in thirds at Basildon Council. It means that tomorrow there are only 14 seats up for election. 1-4. Not 4-1, 1-4. So there is no way in hell, mathematically, not even Stephen Hawking could come up with a mathematical formula to change this equation, right? There is no way that Reform UK can govern our council on their own after the elections tomorrow. The only thing that can happen, the only outcome, is that Labour and the Independents carry on, and I continue on Friday morning as the leader of the council, or Reform UK have to go cap in hand to the Billericay Tories and ask the Billericay Tories if they'll lead the council, supported by Reform UK councillors. The Tories will not be allowed by their central office to be a junior partner, so they will have to be in control of the council. But ask yourself, the people who went to fortnightly bins, the people who turned off the streetlights, the people who stopped building council housing, the people who put Morgan Sindall into power and gave them the contract, the people who are against local government reorganisation and want to keep the potholes and the pavement system how it is, the people who tried to close the George Hurd Centre, the Langdon Community Centre, the Pitsea Leisure Centre and Elderly Centre. You want to put them back in charge of your council 2 years after you sacked them and threw them out. That's what Reform UK are asking you to do tomorrow. And the Tories can't believe their luck. They are sitting there thinking, hang on, people might vote Reform and we might be back in control of Basildon Council. So I ask you to think really long and hard about whether or not you want that kind of chaos. And you've seen it, I've seen it. Since Reform got onto that council, it has been chaos. If you elect a clown, you should expect a circus. And that is exactly what we have seen on Basildon Council with Reform UK. They are not serious people. And I can tell you now, those investors with deep pockets who are thinking about putting hundreds of millions of pounds into the regeneration of Basildon, I can tell you the likes of M&S Food, the likes of Aldi, the likes of Boots, the likes of Waitrose, all of those guys who are looking at Basildon and saying, hang on a minute, this is a place where the regeneration is motoring. This is a place where the council's got a plan. This is a place where the council is acquiring the real estate to make this a possibility. This is a council where the planning applications are going through, so we know that there's momentum behind it. This is a place where there is already £172 million of private sector money building out the development at Orwell right now. Those kind of people do not look at a council where some of the most senior councillors are calling it corrupt and bent and telling everybody that there's backhanders going on and all that kind of nonsense on social media, where they call out their partners on social media, where they spread conspiracy theories and innuendo. You don't get multi-millionaire businessmen at the table dealing with in times of uncertainty. They wouldn't deal with people like that, not knowing from 1 week to the next what they're going to say on social media. So that is on the ballot paper tomorrow, people. If you want a serious council that can get regeneration over the line, that can build council housing, that can get money out of government, I've got £40 million for the Pride in Place coming out of government into our town. We've had a further £11 million for council house building. If you want an administration who can do that, then I urge you tomorrow to go out and to vote Labour. Now, I appreciate that nationally people are a bit concerned, shall we say, with the direction of travel of the government. We are, if this was a Premier League football season, right? We're currently in October, November when it comes to the Parliament. We are not even halfway through the season yet, right? I went to Stamford Bridge back in November to see Sunderland beat Chelsea 2-1. That day, we went fourth in the Premier League. Nobody realistically thought that come May, we would still be fourth in the Premier League. And so it has panned out. What I'm saying to you is, whatever happens now in this local election is going to have no bearing whatsoever on what happens in Whitehall. Keir Starmer is not on the ballot paper in Basildon tomorrow. And I can tell you, and I've spoken to the Prime Minister today, the Prime Minister is not resigning off the back of whether or not Gav gets beat in Basildon. So anybody trying to tell you that voting reform in Basildon, scuppering your regeneration, hindering council house building, having your streetlights turned off is a price worth paying to get rid of the Prime Minister, they are lying to you. It isn't going to happen. And the other thing I would say to you is, look at what you've seen in this election campaign. My party have been out and about in our target seats. We have been delivering our leaflets. We have been telling you all of the things that we have done, the promises we made, the promises we kept. We have been telling you about what our plans are for the next 2 years. And you know my policies on regeneration, on the state of the borough in terms of the cleanliness, on building local homes for local people, back in Basildon businesses, making our communities safer, local government reorganisation, abolishing Essex County Council. You know that. Those of you who are sat watching Facebook Live tonight will have seen me over the last 2 years constantly talking about all of those things. They're my policies. They're the policies that govern how I govern Basildon Council. They're the policies that my cabinet and my councillors look to enact. And we've been straight with you. You haven't seen a single policy. We are sat here now with polls opening in what? 12, 14 hours time, whatever it is. I can't do the maths. My brain is fried after all of these elections and all of the conversations I've had over the last 3 weeks. You haven't seen a single leaflet with a single policy from Reform or the Tories other than to say, we agree with everything that Gavin Callaghan has done and we promise we won't change any of it. So my question to you would be, if they agree with everything we're doing, why would you need to vote to get rid of us? If they think the regeneration's great, if they think the weekly black bins are great, if they think turning on the streetlights is great, they didn't vote for any of it when it came to council, but they back Labour's plan for Basildon. And you should too tomorrow, and you should as well tomorrow. And look, the other thing I would say about this is, I think it really does treat the voters with contempt. To not bother to put a leaflet through your door, even though they're asking for your vote. To just arrogantly assume that everyone's just going to go out and vote for them tomorrow because the national polls say a certain thing, and because the National Party leader says that, you know, vote reform gets Starmer out, even though none of it is remotely true. We've put the work in. We've put the graft in. We've told you what we're going to do. We've told you what we have done and what the promises we've kept. And we've been really, really clear with you that if you elect us, we've got the track record, we've got the experience, and we've got the credibility with our stakeholders, whether that be the government, whether that be the investors, the private sector, the other public sector partners, fellow councils. We've got the credibility in the bank to be able to make Basildon a better place. And I said this last week on a podcast, and I genuinely mean this, right? My children are going to have in their passport for the rest of their life, place of birth, Basildon. And I really want that to be a source of pride, not a source of shame for people. And I know so many people who have said to me in this election, we don't have to be predictable. We don't have to be the Basildon that just votes for reform, because that's what the demographics say, that we should be voting for reform. Because, you know, people that, you know, for whom immigration and all that kind of stuff is a massive issue, so they're going to go and vote for. We don't have to do that. We are literally standing on the edge of a cliff tomorrow, Basildon, right? That is why this is so important. And we can turn around and we can look at a utopia that has got a town centre to be proud of, that's got the arena. I am the only political party leader that will deliver that arena in Basildon. The Tories and Reform have both said they're going to scrap it. So if you're sat there thinking the arena is a really good idea, that I want to go and watch the darts, the boxing, the snooker, I want to go and watch Mickey Flanagan and Jack Whitehall and Alan Carr. I want to go and watch or listen to, you know, whoever it might be, Rag and Bone Man or whoever down at the Basildon Arena. I want to go and see those big shows, those big artists. I'm going to deliver them. And we are going to get that arena open in 2028 if I'm re-elected and my administration is re-elected tomorrow. That we can guarantee. If you want the M&S, the old M&S, to be that Box Park style facility with podcast studios, with a live lounge, with a comedy club. If you want the Eastgate Hospital to open, then you have to go and vote Labour tomorrow, because we are the only party doing it. If you want M&S Food to open this year, if you want Aldi to open in the Westgate, you have to go and vote Labour tomorrow. We're the only political party to do it. If you enjoy a few pints at the Wetherspoons, remember, that was delivered by the Labour Party. When we took office 2 years ago, that deal was dead. We got that deal back on the table, we got the licences through, and we got that £5.5 million investment from Wetherspoons over the line. Every single day, I'm the leader of the council. I work my backside off to try and change this town so my kids can be proud of it. And I do not want to wake up on Friday morning and to be in this bum fight, basically, between whether or not Sam Genet and Andy Barnes can cobble together a deal that puts them into power, where we're going to spend the next 2 years totally and utterly wasting time by them telling you everything that they're not going to do, everything they're going to scrap, everything that they're going to reverse, all these weird and wonderful conspiracy theories dominating the council meetings, dominating the headlines, none of which makes a blind bit of difference to you and your family. Or are we going to say, do you know what? Basildon chooses to be different. Basildon chooses a bit of hope, a bit of progress. And so what we're going to do is we're going to stick with the people. We are going to finish what we started. We are going to see this plan through to the end. In the next 2 years, we're going to get that regeneration over the line. We are going to build an entire new generation of council housing, so that if you've got somebody sat on the housing waiting list right now with me, they have a very realistic chance of getting a council house. The Tories and Reform vote against building new council houses every single week at planning, without fail. Sam Genet and Reform, Kevin Blake and the Tories vote against building council houses. The irony in that sentence is not lost on me, but they vote against building council houses every single week. Only Labour will build those council houses for you and your family. You want that, you have to go and vote for it. So who are we going to vote for tomorrow? Let me talk you through some of the candidates, because it's important when it gets to this part of the election campaign. There are candidates, Labour candidates, in all 14 wards tomorrow. But I want to focus in on 6 wards in particular, because I think this is where the composition, the balance of power in that council is going to be won and lost. Now let's look at Langdon Park with Wayne Milne. So over in Langdon, Wayne has been working really, really hard to understand with me how we can get the Langdon shopping centre development back on track. So you will remember that 3 weeks after I took over in 2024, I solved the highways bond issues. That meant all of those highways issues could be done. Now I know we need to make some changes to it, because laws of unintended consequences and all the rest of it, once we're the Highways Authority, becomes slightly easier. But nonetheless, we got that moving. We also got the guys back on site building it out as well. So you saw the old office space that needed to come down, that came down. We started putting more concrete piling in. We got the Lidl built and opened. And then about 4 or 5 weeks ago, the NHS decided they were pulling out of that development. So we immediately worked with Sanctuary on drawing up that new planning application to go in. And one of the things we've stipulated is we want more shops, not less. So we're going to have more shops in that town centre, alongside the residential, alongside the new War Memorial in Langdon. And Wayne has been working really, really hard to meet with Sanctuary and get that over the line, so that we've got a shopping centre that we can be proud of. In Lee Chapel North, neighbouring Lee Chapel North, Terry Webb, who's been around for a really, really long time, working with communities, leading community groups, is an expert on social housing, has been working with me to look at how we make the changes with that Morgan Sindall contract, so how we bring it in-house, get the repair service back in-house, get local businesses, local tradesmen and women involved in getting our houses back up to the standards that we expect. He lives in Lee Chapel North. He's been in Lee Chapel North for decades. He's raised his family in Lee Chapel North. He loves the place passionately. He's represented Lee Chapel North on the council before. Terry will be another really, really strong voice for residents in Lee Chapel. And, you know, again, look at the things that we've been doing there. Great Knightleys, Ballard's Walk. We need to resurface those roads. We've got some of that done, but we've got to get out of Essex County Council to enable us to get on site and to do some of that. I know that there's been lots of issues around antisocial behaviour. Again, we evicted 32 tenants for antisocial behaviour last year. That's the highest in a decade in terms of the number of evictions for antisocial behaviour. But we're working on that in and around Lee Chapel North because we know that's an important issue for local people. In Friends, we have Chelsea George. So Chelsea is a young mum. She has been inspired to stand because she's lived in Basildon all of her life, but she sees that finally there is investment coming into Basildon. So Chelsea came to us and said she wanted to get involved because she wanted to see the regeneration of that town centre finally get over the line. So she's a young mum. She's raising her children here using local nurseries. She's worked in Basildon all of her life as a travel rep, a travel agent, and now she wants to bring her experiences as a young mum, her experiences as a young person living in Basildon onto that council so that young people's voices are listened to on the council. That is so important that we have a mix of different ages, different demographics on the council. And Chelsea will be a brilliant advocate. Lives in Friends through and through, lived there for 30 years, and she wants your vote tomorrow as well. In the town centre, in St Martin's, we have Elizabeth Atkinson. So if you remember the by-election last year, Elizabeth narrowly missed out in the by-election last year. Elizabeth, again, lives in Basildon. She lives with her husband in Basildon. She's worked in Basildon, has worked for the council in Basildon previously, and can see what we are trying to achieve and understands that we are an administration that is about getting things done and transforming Basildon town centre, and how much that if we get that town centre regeneration right, and if we can really motor with that town centre, it will have such a positive knock-on effect for not just the other towns of the borough, but also people's house prices, also the schools in the area will be able to invest some of the Section 106 monies into it. All of those things are a positive. Elizabeth is the hardest working candidate I think I have ever seen in local government, and if she is as hard a working councillor as she is a candidate, then I know the people of St Martin's are going to have a real champion on their hands on Friday morning. So please, 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 it's my ward as well. Get out there. Let's make this a treble for Labour in St Martin's and win that seat back off of Sam Genet. Sack Sam Genet. That's a simple thing for you to do in St Martin's. Sack Sam Genet and elect Elizabeth. And we won't go far wrong. In Pitsea South East, Ryan McDonald is our candidate. Very similar to Chelsea, actually. Ryan is a young guy renting at the moment with his partner, looking at where they can buy, looking at where they can settle down. Has grown up in Basildon his whole life. Went to school here. Is wanting to stay in the borough. Doesn't want to have to move out of the borough. Doesn't want to have to move miles and miles and miles away to buy his first home. Wants to be close to his family, to his friends, to his network that he's built up for years here, like so many people. Don't forget, you have 10,000 24 to 34-year-olds living at home with their parents in this borough right now because they can't get on the property ladder, namely because we haven't built enough homes for young people over the course of the last 20 years in this borough. But Ryan is somebody who's dedicated to doing that, and he's standing for us in Pitsea South East. So if you live in Pitsea South East, back Ryan tomorrow. And then finally, in terms of those key seats, Pitsea North West is a critical seat. It's my old seat. I love Pitsea North West. I have a soft spot for it. But Pat Reid is our candidate in Pitsea North West. Now, Pat has been around since about 2017, but she has lived on the Chalverdon estate for 40 years. And I can tell you, because I see every single month the casework stats that councillors are putting in. So I know which councillors are on it, which councillors are putting their inquiries in, making the reports for dumped rubbish or for housing inquiries or whatever it might be. Every single year, without fail, Pat Reid is one of the top performing councillors. She's one of the hardest working councillors. You think about the work she's done as the chair of the area committee in Pitsea, working with the Friends of Northlands Park. She was one of the founding members as a friend of Northlands Park. Pat used to come to me and say, put money, put investment into Northlands Park. You will not go wrong if you do it. Now, if you've been to Northlands Park in the last few weeks, you'll see for yourself. It looks amazing. And I am crossing everything that I've got that we are going to get green flag status for Northlands Park in June. It will be the first park in the Basildon Borough to achieve green flag status, and we want it in Pitsea, and that is in large part because of what Pat Reed has done, championing the people of Pitsea. And then also tomorrow, you've got 2 ballot papers. So when you go into the polling station, you're going to get a ballot paper for Basildon Council, and you're going to get a ballot paper for Essex County Council. Now, I'm really clear. I want to abolish Essex County Council. But the best way to do that is to go up there with a bag of nails, with a hammer, and get ourselves ready to hammer the final nails into that coffin. And we're going to need as many Labour people on side to do it, because both Reform and the Conservatives are going to try desperately to stop that from happening and to keep that gravy train going at Essex County Council. We've got to stop it tomorrow. We've got to make sure that we send people to Essex County Council that are very, very clear they want to abolish it, right? We want our money back in Basildon, 100% of our council tax back in Basildon, so we control pavements, potholes, street lights and youth services. So in Langdon tomorrow, let's start with Gloucester Park. How could I forget this one? In Gloucester Park, I want you to vote for Emma Callaghan. Emma is already a county councillor. She has been a thorn in the side of the county council. If you live in Pitsea and you see Rectory Road, if you live in St Martin's and you see Long Riding, then you will see that all of that resurfacing, all of that retarmacking has happened because of Emma and the work that she has been doing alongside Aidan McGurran at County Hall. But this is a bit of a weird division because they've redrawn all of the boundaries. So Emma's Gloucester Park division covers most of Friends, Craylands, it's not in there, covers most of Friends. It covers a little bit of Felmore's. So if you live in Littlebury Green or Ilmington Drive or Bockingham Green, you will be part of this division. And similarly, if you're in Lee Chapel North and you live in Wick Hay or Raphael's or Rise Park or Fallstones or Cressels or all around that area, you're also in this division. So you can vote for Emma Callaghan tomorrow in Gloucester Park. Next door in Langdon, Adele Brown, my Rottweiler, my firebrand, Adele Brown, is standing in the Langdon Park division for the county council. Now, Adele is a school teacher. She understands education. SEND is a massive issue for Adele. I'm going to talk about SEND a little bit later on, but SEND is a big issue for Adele, and she's going to be there fighting for you, fighting for your children, fighting for your grandchildren if you elect her. Now, Adele will cover most of the Langdon Park ward and about 2/3 of the Lee Chapel North ward. So if you're at the Ballards Walk End, if you're on the Five Links estate, if you're on the Churchview estate in Lee Chapel North, it will be Adele. If you're in King Edward Road and that area of Langdon, Helmore's, the county's estate, it will be Adele that you're voting for as well tomorrow. So send Adele there to County Hall because she will be absolutely vicious in ripping those Tories and Reformers apart in order to get our money back into Basildon. All the way over the other side in Pitsea is going to be Pat Reed. Now, Pat, as I said, she is a massive champion for the people of Pitsea. She's represented Pitsea on the county council before. She currently represents what was the Langdon division. So if you live on Whitmore Way, for example, and you've seen all of the resurfacing of Whitmore Way, that was Pat Reed who got that done. Pat has done an awful lot around children's services and trying to get money and investment back into the borough for children's services. And she does a lot for adult social care and disability as well. So again, if you live in Pitsea, it's the whole of Pitsea, Bowers Gifford, that goes into Wickford. But the whole of Pitsea, you can vote for Pat Reed tomorrow. And then the final one of these target seats is me. It's Vange. And again, the name is a bit confusing because it's not really what we class as Vange, the old school Vange. It's a little bit of Friend, so Craylands. If you live on the Craylands estate, you can vote for me. In St Martin's, if you are on Long Riding or you are off of Luncey's Road, those two areas, you can vote for me. If you are on the 3-4 estate in Vange, if you are in Glenmere or if you are in Great Mistley, again, you can vote for me on the county council as well. Now, there are some people saying, why the hell does Gavin Callaghan want to be a county councillor? But let me tell you very clearly, I want to finish what we have started. That close. We are that close to abolishing Essex County Council. We can't let this opportunity slip through our hands. We have got to beat the system. We've got to stop the Tories and Reform from keeping hold of it. I mean, I saw this nonsense last week from Nigel Farage. You can tell that one, he never comes to Essex. Two, he just doesn't understand local government. And three, he doesn't get what local government reorganisation is all about. But on the one hand, they tell you that they're going to open the books, get transparency, find all the money. But then on the other hand, they're opposing local government reorganisation, where all of the money is being wasted, where there is money going off from random different things and contracts being signed but never properly managed. Reform haven't got a clue about any of this. All they want to do is apparently save Clacton Town Hall. So in Basildon, you keep your potholes, you keep your crap pavements, and you keep your streetlights being turned off so that Nigel Farage can save Clacton Town Hall. It is as illogical as his Brexit idea, but that's where we are in terms of Farage. So look, they're the candidates. It's Wayne in Langdon. It's Terry in Lee Chapel North. It's Elizabeth in St Martin's. It's Chelsea in Freans. It's Pat Reed in Pitsea Northwest. It's Ryan in Pitsea South East. In the County Council, it's Adele for Langdon. It's Emma for Gloucester Park. It's Pat for Pitsea, and it's Gav for Vange. And if we can do that tomorrow and we can get out to those polls, we can buck the national trend. We don't have to wake up to councils of chaos with Reform and the Tories running the show. We can get young, vibrant, enthusiastic people who have told you exactly what they're going to change, right? So you're going to actually see the fruits of our labour. You can look in the whites of our eyes. We have told you what we're going to do. Reform haven't done anything. They can record as many videos as they like going on about change. They will not tell you what change looks like or what their policies are. Spoiler, they don't have any. So let's look at our record. Let's look at what we have done. Promised you I was going to fix the bins. The bins are back to weekly. Promised you I was going to get rid of those horrendous blue and white IKEA sacks. We've now got the blue and white bags. I promised you we were going to get in charge of, get on top of fly tipping. We've now gone and put 66 crunch weekends together over the last 2 years. What has been the response to that, or what has been the outcome of all of that investment? Fly tipping has halved in the space of 2 years, and we have seen recycling go up, and we have seen household waste come down. Everything the Billericay Tories told you would happen has not happened. Everything I told you would happen has happened. The service is also a £2 million cheaper service to run for the council. It proves that when you pay your council tax, you should get a weekly bin service, and that is what Labour and the Independents have delivered for you. The other thing we've done is we have got rid of the No Mow May policy. So you will see out there now people who are cutting the grass, the pride teams that have been in the local areas. I'll want more pride teams in the local areas. I'll make no apologies for that. If I am re-elected to run the council tomorrow, we will be investing more money into pride teams to get more of them out there. We have changed the grounds maintenance. So at the moment, we have a private contractor that the Tories put in called ID Verdi. And what that means is they will look at a park or a section of road or some of the hedges, and they will say, in the next calendar year, they will be cut back on these 3-4 occasions. You and I both know that's not enough in some areas. There are problem trees, there are problem hedges, there are areas where actually we might be better off removing it altogether rather than trying to cut it back because it just looks a mess. So we've changed the policy. We've brought all of that in-house. So from October this year, Basildon Council will run the grounds maintenance service. So when we have these areas that we know are a problem and we need to cut them back and we need to trim them back, our pride teams will be able to do it and our grounds maintenance team will be able to do it. Much more flexibility rather than a private contractor coming to us and saying, well, actually, it's not in the contract to cut it 3 times. It's only in the contract to cut it once, so we're not going to do it. We hear what people are saying about the need to cut the grass more, the need to cut the hedges, the need to cut the trees more, and we've made the changes to make that happen. The second thing I promised you was that we were going to regenerate our town centres. Your eyes don't lie to you. £55 million NHS Community Diagnostic Centre with a brand new community centre, a brand new library, all going into Pitsea right now. And you know what? It's ahead of schedule in terms of its construction as well. That is happening because of this Labour administration. Never ever forget, all the Tories did was pass a planning application. That's the easy bit. The hard bit is how are you going to fund it, and then how are you going to go and get it project managed and built out. Look what we've done. Wes Streeting, the Secretary of State for Health, immediately said, yeah, Pitsea, you're getting the money, we're putting it into it. And we're now seeing it being built out. Langdon, talked about, we've got that planning application coming through. I promise you, if you live in Langdon or Lee Chapel North, we are going to build out the Langdon Shopping Centre. And we're going to have around 15 new shops in that shopping centre. And if Basildon Council has to intervene to CPO it and buy it ourselves, I'll do it. Right? We owe the people of Langdon. I've already shown you that we can get the highway sorted. I've already shown you we can get the Lidl sorted. Now we need to get the shopping centre and the War Memorial sorted, and we will do it. In Wickford, I know that people are frustrated in Wickford. I get it. But we are close to that Waitrose deal. They've been emailing us. We know that they want to come to Wickford. We know that we're close to making it happen. We're in negotiations, and we are going to get it over the line. And now let's talk about Basildon. Because tonight, there's some breaking news. Right? The Eastgate acquisition is now very firmly on the line. So I told you last week that we had acquired the Eastgate because we wanted to get the revenue out of it so that the taxpayer makes some money. But we also wanted to bring all of our security services and our community safety services together. So the Eastgate, the Westgate, the Council, Acorn House, Brook House, the cinema, bring it all together so we get more bang for our buck, more security officers, more community safety officers. I told you that we wanted to do it so that we could regenerate the bus station because it is an antisocial behaviour dream at the moment. So we need to radically reform the bus station, and that gave us the power to look at how we do it. And I told you that we wanted to acquire the Eastgate because within it becomes the freehold and access to around 80 properties that at the moment are on the line to go to London boroughs, for London boroughs to house their homeless. And I want that to be protected for Basildon people, so that Basildon people can go in there and we can reduce our temporary accommodation bill by over £1 million. Tonight, the Conservatives, with their mates in the legal team at Basildon Council, have decided that they are going to try and stop this from happening. So that is what's on the line. When I say to you, regeneration dies tomorrow if Reform and the Tories win, I am not lying to you. I will publish the email tonight. You can see it very clearly. It's called a call-in procedure. Now, I'll come back to it. In the meeting last week, both Sam Genet and Andy Barnes had the opportunity to sit in the meeting and to listen to the expert from Montague Evans, to listen to the Chief Financial Officer, the Chief Legal Officer, and the Director for Regeneration and Planning. They answered all of the questions. They went into all of the detail about the money. There was ample opportunity for cabinet members and leaders of opposition groups and Councillor Genet to be able to ask any questions that they wanted to. They walked out of the meeting before we even got to it because they didn't get to accuse us all of being corrupt and bent and be all performative and then walk out of the meeting and clip it up on social media. Because it was actually about real work. It was actually about the deal. They weren't interested. And now at the 11th hour, they've tried to scupper it and they've found the lawyer at the council who's tried to back them. So if I am voted out tomorrow, if the administration is voted out tomorrow, we won't get the Eastgate. And if you don't get the Eastgate, you won't get the arena. If you don't get the arena, you won't get the M&S Box Park. If you don't get the M&S Box Park, the people who've invested their money into that Orwell development will flog it to London boroughs. Guarantee you that's what's going to happen. So you've been warned. If you vote for Reform and if you vote for the Tories, regeneration in Basildon Town Centre will die and the Tories will go back to doing what they did for 25 years, which is to allow all of the residential, Kelting House, Northgate House, Southern Hay, Trafford House, they will allow all of that to be sold off to London boroughs. Do not let them do it. Fight for your town. Fight for the regeneration. Come out tomorrow. Even if you've never voted before, even if you've never voted Labour before, get your photo ID and get down to that polling station and put a cross next to the Labour candidates. Even if you'll never do it again, even if you'd never vote for us in a general election, vote for that regeneration tomorrow. It's that serious, people. I'm telling you, where's my phone? This is ringing off the hook with people who want to invest in Basildon, but who will not invest if Andy Barnes and Sam Janae are running the show on Friday morning. That's the choice we face, and that's what we've got to understand about tomorrow. I want to reiterate something because I think this is important as well. Only 14 seats are up for election tomorrow. Reform UK cannot control Basildon Council tomorrow. They can only do a deal with the Billericay Tories. No other party, no other group is stupid enough to get into bed with Reform UK other than Andy Barnes and his Tories. So that is who will control your council if you vote for Reform councillors tomorrow. You vote for Labour, we will regenerate that town. We will continue with that grounds maintenance coming back in-house. We will continue with the investment in the Pride team. We will guarantee weekly black bin collection. We will keep your streetlights on. And I will clear, not just build, I will clear the council house waiting list. I will get the £500 million out of our government, my government, in order to build out 4,200 council houses that will clear the 3,600 people on the waiting list. I promise you we will do it. And how can you trust me on that? I'm already in for 712 council houses. 20% of the list will be gone with me inside the first 3 years. Compare that to every Tory leader before me, because for 30 years, not a single council house got built until I was the leader of the council. So if you're sat there tonight wanting a council house, wanting a bigger one, wanting your son or your daughter or your grandchildren to get a council house, go and vote Labour tomorrow. Get your photo ID tomorrow, even if you've never voted for us, even if you'd never vote for us again. Get down to your polling station tomorrow and vote for council house building in Basildon. I'm going to make our community safer as well. So yeah, we turned the street lights on. That was the first thing we did. Now we're going to take that money out of the Section 106 agreement. We are going to take the community safety wardens. We are going to get Eastgate over the line. We're going to pull all of the security, all of the community safety together. We're going to increase the lighting. We're going to do something about these subways that are a nightmare for a lot of people. And yet, we are going to continue unashamedly to put violence against women and girls front and centre of all we do around community safety. Because it cannot be right that 90% of girls and women in our borough tell us they don't feel safe in their town centres. It cannot be right that every time I speak to a bloke on a door, he tells me I'd never let my missus walk through Basildon town centre. I'm going to change it. We're going to make that town centre safer. And we will do it with that security investment, with that community safety investment, and with the investment in lighting. And aside from that, we will continue to put money and investment into ending violence against women and girls, to reducing it. 4 in 10 999 calls in Basildon relate to domestic violence, domestic abuse against women and girls. And we will do what we can to support the increasing number of men who are victims of domestic abuse and domestic violence as well. Linked to all of that, if I'm re-elected as the leader of the council, if my councillors, my candidates win tomorrow, we will continue with our Men Matters campaign. So I am going to prioritise men's mental health. I am going to prioritise in the housing allocation scheme those single dads with children who need housing so that their children can stay over at weekends and during the school holidays, so that they are not being priced out of being able to see their kids. I am going to continue with those financial service offers to support those men to understand what their legal rights are and what their financial support services look like as well. And we are going to continue with our guarantee for veterans to be able to access Sempre housing and to be able to access the Basildon Construction Academy as well. There is not a single council anywhere in Essex that is doing more to create jobs than Basildon Borough Council led by Labour. We are in the top 10 for business startups in the whole of the UK. So the work my administration has done with the Business Boost program, the work we have done with the Construction Academy, and the work we are going to do with the creation of the Health Academy, so that we get more local Basildon born and bred people working in the Eastgate Hospital and in the new NHS CDC and in the South Billericay Health Centre that we're going to build out as well. We want local people to train as nurses, as midwives, as radiographers, all of the different things that are needed within the healthcare context. Our Health Academy is going to train people up to do that as well. These are my plans. These are the things I'm delivering. These are the things that we have got the wheels in motion on. And you can trust me to deliver this, because for the last 2 years, I have been good to my word. And by the way, let me just say one more thing, because people will level this at me. If we are re-elected tomorrow, I promise you, in year 3, as part of our medium-term financial strategy, our medium-term financial plan, I will halve the green waste charge next year. You may remember in year 1, I had a pretty hefty black hole because of the bin service that was being run. In year 2, temporary accommodation was causing us issues. Both of those things are now steadying out and coming down. So the costs of them are coming down. As I said, £2 million cheaper bin service. Our temporary accommodation is coming under control because we're acquiring more units. We're not reliant on hotels and bed and breakfast. The plan is working to reduce that cost. Year 3, we will halve that green waste charge. If I can, I'll get rid of it completely. But in the first instance, we will halve the green waste charge. So I will have delivered on all of the promises that I've made you. And we're going to do so many other things. The flower market that we're going to put into that town centre. The picnic in the park that we're going to run. We're going to look at bringing back Bazfest as well, because that was hugely popular. Getting that into our parks. The fan zones that we've got for the World Cup coming up. The support we're giving to taxi drivers so that their fees are frozen for 5 years, and we look at what we can do to support them with the current crisis in Iran. The stuff that we're going to do on bringing the housing service back in-house so that we're not reliant on Morgan Sindel anymore. All of those things are happening and underway. I wish I was Amazon, people, right? I wish it was next day delivery on all of these council services. No one gets more frustrated in that building on a daily basis than me. When I am on the officers every day, where are we up to on this? What are we up to on that? My cabinet members hear from me constantly. I want to know what we're doing on this. I want to know where we are on that. I am promising you, we are laser focused on delivering for you on the priorities I've set out. If you end up with Reform and the Tories, they won't care one jot about you. There's only one thing they're going to do, and that is they're going to foolishly come along and withdraw the local plan. And if they try to do that, the government will intervene, it will take over planning powers from the council, and every single bit of green space will be on the table to be housing. I am actually protecting green space, ironically. I know the Billericay Action Group right now, the popcorn is flying everywhere in their living rooms, right? But I am actually the one trying to protect green spaces, because if the government come in and seize our powers, that's curtains. And that's what Reform and the Tories are promising you they're going to do. But apart from that, there's not a single plan for regeneration, not a single plan for the bins, not a single plan for the streetlights, other than to say, we think Gavin Callaghan's right about all of that over the course of the last 3 years, and we promise that we will stick with it. I don't believe them, and you should not believe them either. And listen, Keir Starmer is going nowhere, right? This is not about Whitehall. I wish we could have a general election tomorrow so that we could get rid of James McMurdoch, because it is a source of absolute shame to me that a convicted woman beater is my member of parliament in the mother of all parliament. But we can't have a general election. I'd love to get rid of Richard Holden as well, because purely for his fashion sense, I don't think anybody should have to look at his clobber on social media anymore. But nonetheless, he will be gone at the next general election. We can't get rid of those MPs, right? This is about your council. It's about local. I can't stress that enough. Nobody in Westminster is going to wake up on Friday morning and say, Gav's gone. Okay, let's pack our bags. We're going as well. Not going to happen. And the idea that these Thatcherite thugs in Reform are going to bully the Labour Party into getting rid of their leader, I can tell you, perversely, all it's doing is keeping Keir Starmer there longer. Right? So if you want to focus on that, I can't help you. If you want to just keep voting reform, 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 because you want Nigel Farage to be Prime Minister in 3 years' time, I can't help you. But if you care about regeneration, if you care about your bins, if you don't want to go back to avoiding having your friends and relatives come to your house on the day where the bin collections are because there's litter all over the green outside and it's so embarrassing for you. I think back to the nurse who I spoke to at the end of a 12-hour shift, having to come home and walk round their front garden picking up the rubbish because it had been thrown everywhere, because the bags had been split open from down the street. All of that nonsense we lived with under the Tories. If you want that to end, you have to vote Labour tomorrow. You want the regeneration, you have to vote Labour. You want the street lights kept on, you have to vote Labour. So grab that photo ID, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. You can go and vote tomorrow with your photo ID. And if you've got a postal vote and you haven't filled it in yet, you can bring that postal vote down to the polling station, talk to the polling clerks, they'll explain what you need to do, but you'll be able to vote using your postal vote in the polling station tomorrow. Let me see if we've got questions, because it would be good to try and answer some people's questions. So if you have them, get them in. Keep putting them into the chat. I should point out as well to any detractors that are out there, I'm actually going nowhere tomorrow because I'm elected till 2028. So it won't be the case tomorrow that people will be able to vote me out. So sorry to some of my trolls. James Harrison, you have asked me, what are you doing to help younger generations to get homes? We have run two they're called Meet the Buyer events, aren't they? They're called first time buyer events, ironically. We've put those on, and we've probably had in the region of about 200 young people come to those first time buyer events. They get to meet mortgage advisors, they get to meet Sempre Homes, they get to understand the difference between shared ownership and 95% mortgages, all of those sorts of things that some of the banks are offering. If I was an MP, one of the things that I would be pushing is to give every 25 to 35-year-old the opportunity to nominate 2 financial years where they got a full income tax rebate. Because I think if you did that on an average salary between you and your partner, you would then have enough to afford a deposit on a home. I keep lobbying the government because I think that's a really good idea. I don't know if anyone else does. I'm probably going to get told it's rubbish, but I think it's a really good idea. And it's a bit like Help to Buy, but it's a different way. It incentivizes you to work hard and to look after yourself and then get back your money that you've put into the system. And then you have the freedom to choose what you spend it on. So I keep lobbying the government on that. But I think we need more incentives to help people, and I think we need more council houses. It used to be the case that you got a council house on social housing rent levels that enabled you to then save up the money, save up the deposit to be able to then go and get yourself a place of your own. I want us to get back to that system. But you have to create the supply. The demand is there. You have to create the supply. And if you do that, what you see everywhere, and there's loads of studies I read on this from New Zealand and from Texas in America, when you create the supply, the prices come down for first-time buyers, and it allows them to get on the ladder. So there you go. Scott has asked, will Send be changing at all? I know you are getting my vote. Now listen, I spent 2 hours this afternoon at Pioneer School in Basildon, and a big thank you to all of the teachers at Pioneer School for inviting me along. And then at the end of it, I met about 20-25 parents who came along to talk to me and asked me a whole range of different questions about Send. I think there's a couple of things. One is we need more Send schools, period. So we need to use some of the Section 106 money, the £169 million of Section 106 money sat in a bank account that the Billericay Tories and their mates at County Hall are refusing to spend. It's our money. The development just last month that got passed at the Planning Committee for Bowers Gifford, there was £8 million in there for new schools in Basildon. We can use some of that money to build new Send schools. We can use some of that money to expand existing schools, mainstream schools that need additional provision in their schools as well. That's not hard. It really isn't hard. It's a planning application and it's capital expenditure to build it. We can do that, right? We can make that happen. But the second thing then that you need to do is then you need to think about post 18 education. I heard today about issues around home to school transport that I need to take up with the Department for Education, but we also need to talk about where you go. We're fortunate that there is some good transition places. Papworth Trust, very close to my heart, is a really, really good place in our borough. We've got the Rainbow Centre on Ashlands. We've got lots of different places in Basildon that do really, really good transitions into adulthood. Supported living, independent living, all of that stuff. That's where we want to focus some of our attention as well. But we need to understand what's on the ballot paper tomorrow. Reform UK want to cut funding for SEND. You are seeing on the screen right now some of the horrendous things that Reform MPs like Nigel Farage, like Richard Tice and David Ball, the chair of Reform UK, have said about children wearing headphones, about overdiagnosis, about over-exaggeration, about the fact that it's just bad parenting, that it's not real. You look at the record of these guys in power. Warwickshire County Council. What did Reform-led Warwickshire County Council try and do? Cut home to school funding almost by 100%. What have they done in places like Derby, in Warwickshire, in Durham as well? Savage cut to children's services and SEND. Trying to do this on the cheap. Not interested in expanding provision, trying to reduce provision. If you vote for Reform County Councillors tomorrow and they get in control of Essex County Council, I dread to think what is going to happen to those SEND children, to their parents and to their grandparents when you start seeing these cuts being rolled out by Reform Council. Don't buy any of this bunny that there's a SEND councillor in Basildon in the name of Sam Genet and he's going to protect it. Utter rubbish. He will do what he's told by his Reform masters and they're going to cut SEND money. Don't let him away with it. This is too important to too many people for us to turn our backs on those SEND parents. Labour will never ever do that. Sean has asked, what will the other parties do to the social housing situation? We're so close on transfer only. I'm nervous we'll end up getting pushed back if someone else gets in. Sean, I don't want to be hyperbolic. I don't want to over sensationalise, but the reality is you will find it tougher. Now, one of the things that I think is really good is that as a councillor in the last year, the number of families that have come to me to say, Gav, I've been offered a house. I've been on the housing list for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and I've finally been offered a house. This is amazing. And that's because we're building new council housing. 300 in the last 2 years, a further 400 this year, 700 families getting a council house. And by the way, we're evicting people who abuse it. 32 properties that became available to families because if you're abusing it, you're out as well. So that's been a real positive. But Sean, look, don't just believe me. People will sit there and go, oh, Callaghan would say this, wouldn't he? He's up for election tomorrow and he wants you to vote Labour. Don't believe me. Go and have a look at the planning committee. Go and have a look at the minutes of the planning committee. Go and have a look at every single development that has got affordable housing in it. And then go and have a look at whether the Conservatives and Reform voted in favour of it or if they voted against. You will see 100% of the time, except in one occasion, which I'll talk about in a minute, 100% of the time, Reform and the Tories vote against council housing. And if they win tomorrow, there will not be a single new council house built on their watch because there wasn't for 30 years and they won't do it again either. The only time Sam Genet's ever actually voted in favour of housing being built is when he wanted to build it on Bells Hill Road in Vange. And ironically, tomorrow he wants those people to vote for him to be the leader, to be their county councillor. Okay, keep your questions coming in. We will try and get to more questions as we go. Tracy has asked, will there be more for young adults as they will be our next voters and employees? Thank you, Tracy. There are two things I would say about that. Number one, in 2021, I passed the planning application and we were ready to go in constructing a youth zone, state-of-the-art youth zone on the car park opposite Trafford House in Basildon Town Centre. That would have been for every 8 to 19-year-old and up to 25 for those with disabilities. Again, talking to parents today at Pioneer, their children after 18, they would have been able to go to the youth zone as part of that transition and part of the things that they would be able to do, respite care, all that sort of stuff. The Tories got in 2021. and they scrapped the whole thing. David Dadds, you remember him? God help us. He was the one who absolutely trashed the onside youth zone, and then those guys walked away and the whole scheme fell apart. After 3 years, the planning application expired and it went. The government gave us £40 million for Pride in Place money for the Chalverdon estate, Craylands, and then for the Five Links and parts of Lee Chapel North. When we did our first round of consultation with people, we said to people, what do you want us to spend £40 million on? And they were really, really clear that they wanted us to invest in youth services. So I hope that the Pride in Place boards, when they are fully up and running in July, I hope that they will say yes to my plan to build that youth zone in Basildon Town Centre. We've got to get on with it. We've got to make it happen. Between the youth zone and the arena, which will have esports, it will have live sports like netball and futsal and other things going on as well. We will have a new generation of youth zones, youth facilities for young people in our borough. The other thing I'm doing is I am creating jobs for life for a next generation of Basildon Brickies, Chippies and Sparkies. Get to the Construction Academy, come out on the tools, get your skills, get your certificates, get the training you need to be able to go on site and get a job for life as well. And once Essex County Council is abolished, once all of these youth services, adult education, lifelong learning, once all of that comes to Basildon Council and within our control, we will be able to tackle the not in education, employment and training, the high number of NEETs that we have in this borough. We'll be able to tackle that with targeted interventions as well. So listen, it's a great question. I want those young people to go out and vote tomorrow, even if they've never voted, even if it's their first vote. I spoke to one guy tonight just before I came on here to do this. He's never voted. He's a young guy, only 20. He's moved out of home. He's renting privately because he wants a bit of independence. And he was saying, look, that town centre is getting better, but he's never voted. So don't wake up on Friday and all the older people in your mum's generation and your nan and granddad's generation, they've all had their say and they've all voted for reform and the whole regeneration ends. If you want that and you think it's important to you, your vote, whether you're 20 or whether you're 19 or you're 18, your vote is just as powerful, just as important as a 50, 60, 70-year-old's vote. That's the beauty of this system. Everyone's vote counts equally. So make sure you use it tomorrow as well. Okay, one more question. Let's see if we can get one more in, and then I think I've taken up enough of your time tonight. We've done an hour. So Jamie Jenkins says, we are 1 hour now, we're close. What are the plans regarding youth clubs supporting local football teams, Bowers and Pitsea and Basildon United? Great question, Jamie. Just to answer a little bit of that, I've met with Basildon Town and Basildon United recently. I went to meet with the owners and the chair of the committees. We are looking at where we can potentially look at building a new stadium where we can put proper facilities for training for those guys and girls as well. So all of that is being looked at the moment. We're talking to the Football Foundation because they want to put some investment in. They've got about £4 million that they want to put into Basildon. So we're looking at how we can use some of that money as well, plus the Section 106 monies that I keep talking about, that infrastructure money that we can potentially look at as well. Again, once we've got youth services, Essex Youth, all of that becomes Basildon Council's responsibility. So we'll be able to make more targeted interventions there as well. But look, I think it's a great question. It's a really important question. And I think you can, again, look at our track record. Look at what we've done in terms of the upgrades to the play parks. Look at what we're doing in terms of the mugger that we're putting into the field just behind the Jolly Friar. The investment in Flex and the CIC that we've put in there. They do great work at Flex, and it is really, really important that people back them. But look, let me finish by saying some of this, right? It is personal tomorrow. There's no doubt about that, right? I care so much. I love Basildon. I wasn't born here, but I love this place. I genuinely love it. And I refuse to accept it's broken and that it can't get better. Honestly, those people can sod right off, right? Basildon is brilliant and it can be even better, right? It is an absolute baby in terms of being 77 years old, but all that it has achieved, all that it has done, and all that is possible on the ballot paper tomorrow. So please use your vote to think about Basildon, to back Basildon, believe in Basildon, to stop reform. If you do one thing for me, it is to go out tomorrow and it is to vote for those Labour candidates. We can finish what we have started. We can avoid a council of chaos. You can show what Basildon means to you as well. If you've got to hold your nose, hold your nose. If you've got to look the other way while you do it, look the other way. Whatever it takes, just go into that ballot box tomorrow and vote for Labour. Thank you.